Overtaking in karting. It can be challenging, but fear no more. Today we'll be covering the different overtaking techniques which you can apply at an indoor go-kart track and an outdoor go-kart track. So hopefully you'll leave this video with some useful speed secrets and most importantly some useful tips and tricks. When it comes to overtaking in go-karting, you firstly need to understand how you would even get into the position to overtake the driver ahead. This is where you should consider the straightaway rule. A straightaway quite literally means the straight after the corner. Never forget that the driver who accelerates first out of the corner will be the first to arrive at the end of the straight, and this is where you'd perform your overtake. When you're following the driver you want to overtake, drive the corner in such a way to maximize your straightaway speed. So as we run the slow-mo footage, you want to approach the corner from the outside edge, and this is the first step in gaining better straightaway speed than the driver you're trying to overtake. Foot down to the floor, accelerate through the exit part of the corner and taking a relatively late apex for this hairpin turn. But now you're really going to reap the rewards of this superior straightaway speed. As you can see now, you're going to draw up and pull alongside the driver you're trying to overtake, and by the end of the straight you're going to have the inside line to dictate exactly where to position the kart, and you have made that overtake stick perfectly. The next overtaking technique is called the switchback line, and if you follow this correctly, it can be very satisfying. The switchback line is where both drivers would approach the corner side by side. However, the driver on the inside line would overshoot the corner. To counter that, you need to stick to your racing line and apex at the corner. And on exit, you would have left the driver for dust because you've simply apexed at the turn. So as we roll the slow-mo footage, we've caught up to the driver ahead of us and we've been forced to the outside edge. No problem at all. As you can notice, we're both side by side. But in this moment, you've got one job only, and that is to stick to the racing line. So from the outside edge now, you want to start focusing on your apex point. Anticipate the driver on the inside to overshoot the turn. And he does exactly that, but you're going to cross paths now, apex there, and absolutely leave the driver for dust on exit of the corner. So to show you the overtake again, you'd want to approach the corner from the outside edge. The driver on the inside is obviously occupying that space. So now stick to your racing line from the outside edge, cut in towards the inside edge, and because you've apexed, that's enabled you to make that overtake stick. The next overtaking maneuver is what I like to call full send around the outside. Never be afraid to use the outside part of the track as a way to overtake the driver. As we analyze my starting position, you'll notice that the driver in front of me is occupying the inside line. I could opt to take the switchback line to overtake this driver. However, there's the risk that the driver behind me in the white t-shirt may plow right into the back of me, heading into the braking zone. So to eliminate this risk, let's stick to the outside line and the outside edge to perform this overtake. Heading into the braking zone, we're positioned perfectly to fulfill this overtake. So now we're going to progress through to midway through the corner. Plenty of road to utilize over here, but our job is not done yet. We need to hang it all the way around the outside, carrying that speed, carrying that momentum from the outside line, and hanging it around the outside to eventually overtake the driver. As we review the overtake once more, we approach the corner from the outside edge. Stick to the outside edge all the way, utilize that road on exit, and carry the momentum and the run, which will eventually allow you to overtake the driver. Now, this is one of the most effective overtaking maneuvers which you can pull off at the karting track, and you're essentially slipstreaming the driver in front of you until the very last moment, pulling out just enough to overtake and getting back onto your racing line. This way you're losing as less time as possible, but of course it comes at a cost where you have to be very accurate, very precise, and you've got to have confidence that the driver in front of you won't make any rash maneuver to the right, or then it'll all end in tears. Right, so moving on to some overtaking maneuvers which are more specific to an indoor go-kart track, the following move is what I call the fully committed overtaking move. And this requires you to stick to your racing line because the overall aim is to gain superior straightaway speed over the driver you're trying to overtake. And in this case, the driver I'm trying to overtake is already off the racing line. So to set ourselves up nicely to gain superior straightaway speed, we'll stick to our racing line through these next two corners. And on exit of the second turn, we've gained that momentum and we're nearly up alongside him. As he glances back, he's well aware that we're within striking distance of him. However, we'll need to focus towards that circle part of the track and drive towards that in a straight line motion. And as we do so, we get to the next corner and find ourselves in a situation where we're side by side. It's crucially important to keep the kart committed here and hold the inside line. This is key in making a successful overtake. And as we keep the kart committed and hold the inside line, we've hung the driver out on the outside to dry, and that is overtake done. And to review the footage once more then, we'll have to gain superior straightaway speed by initially sticking to our racing line, and on exit of the turn we now find ourselves in a situation where we're drawn up alongside him. At the next corner we have to keep our kart committed though, as we have the inside line, and as we hold the inside line we've made the overtake stick perfectly. Similar to the fully committed overtaking move, there is also the elbows out overtaking move, and the driver I'm trying to overtake in front of me has been holding me up for the best part of a lap. I noticed that turn number 1 at this circuit is his weakness, so heading into turn number 1 now from the outside edge, we cut into the inside edge and a small gap opens up. Keep the kart committed, elbows out of course, and heading into this corner you've made the overtake stick. And again, approaching the corner from the outside edge initially, because the driver at the inside edge is going to overshoot the turn. He's not even on the racing line. And by overshooting the turn, as he does so now, that's what opens up that small gap. And you want to keep your kart over here. You'll notice you're really squeezed between the inside barrier and the outside kart. No problem at all, because you have one job only, and that is to keep the kart committed for the duration of this turn. Now, elbows out over here. Really lean on the outside kart. You can really do this on the arrive and drive kart since they have a bumper all the way around. And the reason you want to lean on the kart is because you have space on entry of the corner to get your turning done, of course. So heading into that corner now, you've made the overtake stick perfectly. So the final overtaking maneuver we'll cover in this video is where you're trying to overtake a driver who just blocks your path right before you're trying to overtake them. But I'll show you how to get around this problem. The driver in front of us is already off the racing line, and as we stick to our own racing line, we're able to gain more and more time onto him. As we come through this left-hand turn, we take a sweet middle apex, and our plan is to overtake the driver heading onto the straightaway at the inside line, of course where the red circle is marked. That plan sounds all well and good until the driver in front of you weaves and blocks your path and forces you to apply the brakes and back out of the overtaking move. Obviously this is only an arrive and drive race, so he's not going to get penalised or disqualified for that move, but we just want to get on with our race and dispatch the driver as quickly as possible. So stick to the inside line, and heading into the next corner, anticipate the driver to overshoot the turn, and that's exactly what he does. This should be no surprise because remember, he's not even sticking to the racing line in the first place. But because you are at the inside line already, you can profit from that and easily overtake the driver as you've got the inside line. And there you go, job done. And just to review the footage once more, you're gaining more time onto him because you're using your racing line, and through this corner you plan to make the overtake stick, but he weaves in front of you. It's okay, don't let that phase you, don't let that hinder you. Heading into the next corner he'll overshoot the turn, you have the inside line, and you can make the overtake stick perfectly. So to round out this video, we'll just cover 3 main points which are important when it comes to overtaking in go-karting. And number 1 is sticking to your racing line. By sticking to your racing line, that's how you get into the position to even perform these overtaking maneuvers. Number 2 is keeping a cool head and keeping your composure in the moment of the overtake, as well as anticipating where the driver will be on track. Number 3 is practicing these overtaking maneuvers frequently. Go down to your local go-kart track and compete in arrive and drive races, where more often than not you're up against novice drivers. And this really helps because novice drivers will do unpredictable things. And if you're practicing overtaking maneuvers with them, then when you go to a real life race, it becomes a lot easier to perform these overtaking moves. And with that guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. Let me know what your favorite overtaking maneuver was in the comment section below. If you liked the video, then I'm sure you know exactly what to do. Be sure to share this video with your friends. You obviously don't want to share it with your racing rivals. But until the next video guys, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.